Hello everybody. Today we're going to be tying an extended cinder worm, and in the vise I have a short shank TM size 4 hook. The extended tail section is going to be made out of some stiff mono, and I'm going to measure it, and I'm going to flatten the part that's going to be attached to the shank of the hook. This keeps it from rolling, and it makes it much easier to attach. Now this extended mono does a couple things. It keeps the tail from wrapping, and it takes a lot of the weight out of the fly. I could tie this same pattern on a long shank hook, but it would be much heavier. Now I'm going to reposition the hook in the vise. I'm going to put the eye into my jaws with the bend facing me, and I'm going to melt a ball at the end of it that will create a little stop section so my thread won't slide off and the tail won't slide off. For the tail, I'm going to use a piece of zonker strip. This is black zonker. I always look for the ones with the real pliable hides that have plenty of freedom of movement. You can see I'm winding my thread backwards now because I've reoriented the hook in the vise. I've cut my zonker strip to maybe there's 1/4 of an inch of hide on it. It will keep the material together from spreading out. I like to keep the hide attached to it. I could strip this off and have the same tail, but it would flare out. So the hide goes beyond the ball on the mono just a little bit. Keeps everything together. And the hide can be tied in either towards the bend or towards the top of the fly. It will wiggle just as much either way. Now I'm going to add my body material. I'm going to use ostrich roll here. I'm going to strip off 4 or 5 long ones. This is red. I've seen most of my cinder worms tied in red, so I'm going to do red. I've wet the end, and I'm just going to attach this right at the base of my tail with some real good snug wraps. Once it's on and I'm happy with it, I'm going to bring my thread forward, and with open wraps I'm going to move my thread up onto the shank of the hook where my body will end and my head of the fly will begin. I'm stroking those back. That makes those little barbules stick out even more. And I'm going to put a little bit of crazy glue onto the monofilament to make the fly a little bit more durable. And don't put all the way up the shank because it dries pretty quick. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. And now I'm just going to wrap, and this takes a little practice. I'm holding the tail with tension with my thumb and forefinger. I'm wrapping over, grabbing it with my middle finger and index finger, and I'm just going to advance this till it eventually reaches to where my thread is. This mono is fairly stiff. It's 90-pound test to, I have in 3 sizes, 90-pound test, 100-pound test, and 110-pound test. And it really just acts like the shank of a hook, and without the weight. When you get up near the bend, you really have to tuck one under the mono, and so you don't have any gaps, and you get one right under it. And then I'm going to put a little bit more glue and continue wrapping up to my thread. You're looking at the fly from the top down right now, so you can see those little legs, the way they're going to stick out, and they're going to move with every little movement of water that hits them. So I take a couple wraps and lock it off. Now I'm going to reposition my hook again in the vise. Be careful because you have the weight of the bobbin here. And you can see what we've created so far. I tie my bunny flies the same way. It really helps their tails from not following. I tie them off exactly the same way, and then I wrap the bunny along the monofilament with super glue. Getting back to this fly, we're done with this, so I'm going to add a head. I'm going to use a chenille, black chenille and small. I have added foam to the head in this section that will keep it up and floating on a thinner wire hook. But if I grease up my leader, this is really, and you'd be surprised, there's not a lot of weight to this fly. Now I untwist my chenille a little bit, and I'm going to just wind that forward and create the pronounced dark head that these cinder worms have. There's a rear section that's dark and the front section that's dark, and in between they're very translucent, which as ostrich herald gives that appearance. I'm finishing it, and I'll just apply a little bit of super glue or crazy glue to my thread before I pull them under. It's an easier way of making my head more durable. And that's pretty much it for this particular pattern, except I'm going to brush out any little barbules that got stuck. This is, any Velcro brush will do this. You can see, you can hear how durable it is. The teeth of the fish shouldn't really do too much damage to this. And short shank hooks are easier to hook fish with, I think. So here you have it. We'll twist it around and look at it from different angles. That's from the top down. You can see the little legs. They'll move, like I said, with every little bit of current that touches them. It's about 2.5 inches total length. That's from the underside. And if I don't use natural materials, I do use some synthetics, and I like to use Estaz. It gives this nice look, and I like this color combination here. Same tail, same head. This one here is root beer colored, and I used a different tail. I used ostrich herald. I'm interested to see how that performs. This one's another Estaz on a glow bug hook, C14S. Really no weight to this at all. If I grease this up, it'll stay right on the surface. And that is a strong hook. I've caught albacore on it. This one is bright pink and fluorescent pink, ostrich herald again. A nice looking pattern. Short shank, fall proof. And the last one that I have here to show you is this is basic chenille. Your red chenille, black tail, black head. So I hope I have given you some ideas on, and I'm sure you'll come up with your own creations. I've enjoyed it. I hope you have.